I'm a female and have an Instagram account like many other people. I post pictures on my page here and there, and I always enjoy seeing how many likes and comments that my pictures get. Most of the comments and likes are from my good friends, but of course, not all of them are. Like many other people, I've experienced several creeps online. Sometimes random men will like my pictures, comment on them, or even send me direct messages. They can get kind of creepy, and sometimes I even delete them. For the most part though, I don't really care. It happens here and there and doesn't bother me. I remember though, one time, about a year ago, I posted a picture on Instagram and some guy liked it and commented on it. I read the comment, but didn't bother to click on his profile or anything. I did not know him, but he commented something like, "Very nice," with a fire emoji. But not long after this, he sent me a direct message as well. He simply said hi to me, but I had no interest in responding. I did click on his page though to see who he was. He looked much older than me, and only had a few pictures. I had no idea who he was, and we didn't have any mutual followers, so I ignored him. I've gotten many direct messages from people who I don't know, and most of the time, I don't respond to them. They usually get the idea and leave me alone after I don't reply. I figured this would be no different, but the man sent me another direct message the next day. This one I also ignored. I didn't even open it. Over the next few days, he sent several more messages to me. I didn't bother to read any of them, and I figured eventually the man would give up, but he didn't. Over the next week or so, he sent me messages basically every single day. I would get Instagram notifications several times a day, and at least one of them would be from the man sending me another message. Eventually, I got tired of it and decided to finally block the guy. But before I did, I wanted to read through the messages that he sent me. Right away, I saw that he had sent a photo, and it was my house. I realized that this was no ordinary creep. This man must live in the area, and he somehow knew where I lived. I looked at the other messages that he sent me. He said hi to me over and over again, and then blatantly told me that he knew where I lived. That was followed by a picture of my house, and then him saying hi to me again. I wasn't quite sure what to do. I reported his account to Instagram and then blocked him. However, I wasn't really confident that anything would be done. I didn't think this was worth going to the police either, because I didn't think that the man had broken any laws. Still, I was now very worried. What was this man capable of? I found myself looking out my front window almost constantly for the rest of the day. I lived by myself in a 2-story home near a major US city. For the rest of that day, I did not have to go anywhere, and I did my best to stop worrying. I called several of my friends and spoke with them about it. Unfortunately, none of them could come over and keep me company that night because they were either working or had prior plans. I started to feel better when nothing strange happened for a few hours. But then, nighttime came. At around 10 p.m., I was in my living room watching a movie on my TV. By now, my windows were covered with the shades, and I wasn't thinking about the guy as much. My phone hadn't received any strange Instagram notifications either. Part of me had been worried that the man would make another Instagram account and message me again, but that didn't happen. At one point during the movie, I randomly remembered and had the thought to check out the window again. It had been several hours since I had last checked. I turned behind me on the couch and carefully lifted the blinds back. That's when I saw a car parked right out front on the street that I did not recognize. Could that be him? With it being dark out and stuff, obviously I couldn't tell who was driving, but I could tell that there was a person in the driver's seat. I quickly covered the window back up and wondered if the person had seen me. I sat there on the couch for a few moments, thinking of what I should do. Then I heard a car door open and shut. The person was getting out. I carefully moved the window shades again, just barely, just enough to see out. I saw a man walking towards the house through my front yard. This was definitely him. He walked up closer to the house, and I heard him moving just outside of my window. I couldn't believe that this was happening. I really hoped that he would not try to break in. I heard him walking further down to behind the house. This time, I was calling the police for sure. I took out my phone and dialed. I stayed where I was on the couch and spoke with the police as I waited for them to arrive. During this time, I didn't hear or see anything indicating where the man was. Several minutes later, though, I heard a car door open and shut again outside. I was hoping that it was the police arriving, and I looked outside, but instead, I saw it was the man driving away. I was so glad that he was gone, but I also knew that the police would not be able to catch him right away now. They arrived about 5 minutes later. I told them about the man leaving, and gave the best description of him and the car that I could, but I didn't get a very good look at either. I still didn't feel that confident about him being located. I gave the police the whole story, but I had blocked the account, and when I looked at accounts that I had blocked, it must have been deleted because it was gone. After the police left, I was still very worried. I decided that I would stay at one of my friends' houses for the next few days. This was a big help to me because I knew that the man still knew where I lived and he might return. The very next night, I got a direct message request from a random Instagram account. The username was user and then a bunch of random numbers, and it had no profile picture. They sent me just a photograph, and it was of my bedroom window. It was taken from my yard. That must have been what he was doing. I showed the picture to my friend, and we went to the police with it, but I don't know that there was much they could do. The account had no pictures or any information on it. They did say that they would investigate, though. Several days went by without anything happening. I decided that I would return to my house. I drove back there in the morning, but when I got there, I noticed that it had been broken into. The window to the back door had been smashed. I called the police immediately and ran back outside to my car in fear that the man was still inside my house. They arrived very quickly and entered my house. They were inside for a while, but soon they came out with the man. He had been hiding inside of my house. I guess he had broken in the previous night and was waiting for me to return. I'm so glad that he was caught, and I will never forget that experience. I'm a typical guy, and I have the Instagram app. I go on it basically every day to check out what my friends are doing and follow my favorite sports teams and things like that. One thing that I do a lot is go on the Explore page. This is just a bunch of random posts from accounts you don't follow, but that might interest you. It's interesting to look at them sometimes, and every new time you log into Instagram though, it's completely different. Now, I don't remember exactly when this started, but I know that I saw the same picture on the Explore page twice. This isn't a big deal, but then I saw it a third time. I thought this was pretty strange, but I still didn't click on it. A couple of times later though, I saw it yet again. I truly don't know how many times I saw the picture, but it just kept showing up. Eventually, I caved and I clicked on it, wondering why I kept seeing it. This photo was a picture of a car. It was seemingly random. The car was not particularly new or old, it just looked average. It was a gray 4-door sedan. The picture did not have the number of likes listed and didn't have any comments either. I clicked on the page and it was a random word with numbers, and the profile picture was one of the cars. The page only had like 5 followers. On the page were 4 photos and they were all of different cars. It was like somebody had just walked down the street and took pictures of random parked cars, but none of the cars were really that unique. 2 were on the side of the street parked, and 1 was in the driveway, and another was in a parking lot. I noticed that one of the cars in the photos was the same make and model that I had. Then I examined the photo a little bit closer. I soon realized that that was my car. I could tell that it was parked in my driveway. This gave me the chills when I saw it. Who ran this account? I shared the picture with a couple of my friends. None of the pictures had any captions or comments on them. My friends agreed that it was really weird, but didn't know who would do that or why. I was really curious, and I thought about commenting or sending a message to the page, but I decided not to. The very next day, I went on Instagram again. This time, I saw the same picture of my car on the Explore page. I clicked on it wondering if it was new, but it was in fact the same one. Then I clicked on the profile again because I saw that they had posted a story. The story was a poll. The poll said, "Which one?" Then there were the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. I did not vote because I didn't understand it at all at the time. I thought this was just really weird and decided to leave it alone. I got off of Instagram, and for the rest of the day, I didn't go anywhere. My car sat there in the driveway where it always did. I went to bed that night and got up the next morning to go to work. When I headed out for my car, it was gone. I couldn't believe it. I remembered the posts and everything. I called the police and then my boss. Luckily, my boss didn't mind, and she said I could come in a little bit late after I took care of the police report and everything. They took down all of the information that I could give them, including about the strange Instagram page. Unfortunately, when I looked, it had been deleted. The police assured me that they would do what they could to find my vehicle. I took a Lyft to work and back, and was able to get a rental car later that day through insurance. For the next few days, I was thinking about it all the time, until finally, I got a call that the police had located my vehicle. It was found abandoned, parked on the side of the road about 20 miles away. Luckily, it had no damage. I was able to get it back, but I don't think the police ever found out who did it. That Instagram page was really bizarre though. Was the poll a way of deciding which car the person was going to steal? And why would they post these things on Instagram anyways? Either way, I hope nothing like this happens again. This is something pretty strange that happened not too long ago. I would like to remain anonymous, so I'm not going to share my name, but I have an Instagram page. I'm just a regular guy for the most part, and I have a job that I've worked at for a while now. I used to post on Instagram occasionally, here and there. Not too long ago, though, I started posting Reels. They're basically short videos that you can post on Instagram, and they've become very popular recently. I just played around with them and started posting kind of a lot, and a couple of them got quite a bit of likes. I started gaining more followers than I ever thought I would, and so I kept posting the Reels. Over time, I had over 10,000 Instagram followers, and I really enjoyed posting the Reel videos. I would post them on pretty much a daily basis, both at work, at home, or wherever I was, really. It was when I had been posting Reels for maybe 3 months when this story takes place. One day, I opened up Instagram and saw that I had a direct message. I would get direct messages here and there, sometimes from people who watched my videos, other times from friends wanting to show me stuff. This message was from a company which I won't mention. I had never heard of them, but I saw that they were verified and had a decent number of followers. They said that they loved my videos and would like to sponsor one of my upcoming ones. When I read this, I was very excited. I had never dreamed of making any money from the videos. I didn't know how much they were offering, but anything was better than nothing, and the company seemed pretty cool to me. I responded to them, saying I was interested, and they said they would send me an email with more details. The company wanted to send me a couple of products, and I would talk about them in a post. I got the email from them and filled out a contract form with all of my information. Then, I waited and was told I should receive them within a week or so. Over the next few days, I went on with my regular schedule. I worked at generally the same time every day, which was pretty early, and I would get home sometimes in the afternoon. But on Thursday of that week, I got lucky and did not have to come into work until 11 a.m., but I would still get out at the same time. This was really nice, and I could sleep in for a few hours because I usually left for work at about 7:30 a.m. I had my alarm set for 9, but that didn't wake me up. I was awoken a little bit earlier than that, at about 8:30. When I woke up, I immediately heard the sound of glass breaking. I was really confused. Then I heard more noises, as if somebody was entering my house. The sounds were coming from the other side of the house, near where the dining room was. My house wasn't all that big, so I could hear noises from almost all parts of it. Somebody was definitely inside with me. I kept listening and heard more sounds, like maybe there was more than one person here. My heart started racing, and I couldn't believe what was going on. Somebody was breaking into my house at 8:30 in the morning. I got my phone to dial 911. The noises continued, and it seemed as though whoever was in here was not at all concerned about being quiet. There were at least 2 people, possibly more. I spoke on the phone, telling everything that was going on, and I spoke as quietly as I could. Luckily for me, it didn't sound like they were coming any closer to my bedroom. I got off the phone with 911 and was hoping that they would get there as soon as possible. I was told that they should arrive within a few minutes. Meanwhile, I still heard the people moving throughout my house. I was really nervous that whoever was in my house would move to my bedroom. As of that moment, they hadn't moved from the other end of the house, but I knew it was still possible. I didn't have a lock on my bedroom door and didn't want to take any chances either. I decided that I would try to move into my bathroom. It was right next door to my bedroom in the hallway, but I would have to open my bedroom door and then close the bathroom door, and I didn't want to make any noise. I decided to try and do it anyways, before the people in my house thought about coming towards my bedroom. I moved to my door and opened it slowly and as quietly as possible. Once it was open, I carefully walked to the bathroom door. As I was walking there though, I suddenly heard footsteps coming near. I rushed inside and shut the door, making a little more noise than I intended. The door shut and I locked it. I was just happy to be safely inside. I heard the footsteps then moving back and walking away. Just barely, I heard men's voices coming from the other side of the house. There was more movement, and soon I stopped hearing any noises at all. It was as if they had left. I stayed inside the bathroom with the door locked for about 5 more minutes until the police arrived. I heard them knocking on the door, and I carefully left the bathroom and walked over to the front door of my house. I let the police in and spoke with them while they searched the entire place. The men who had broken in were gone. My back window that looked out to the backyard from the dining room was smashed. Several things inside were also stolen. I was glad to be okay, but really frustrated about it. I just hoped that they would be able to find who had done it. So what does this have to do with Instagram? At first, I didn't think anything at all. But only after a few days went by and I didn't receive anything in the mail, I went to check Instagram. I was going to send a direct message to the company asking when it would arrive, but they were just gone. It was as if their account had been deleted. When I looked up the company, I found a different page for them which was also verified. I realized that the contract that they had me sign, I'd given my address in it. Plus, if they had seen my posts, they very possibly would have known my work schedule and even seen details of my house. As for the page being verified, I found out that people can pay a little bit of money to have any page verified now. I think it was all a setup. Why, I don't know, and maybe it was just a crazy coincidence, but I'm convinced otherwise.